Hey, good morning, internet. Since we're live on both LinkedIn and YouTube, I can't just say good morning, LinkedIn. I want to everybody to know that I just saved you by not hitting live a second ago when Mike took a very loud swig of coffee. Um, but a couple days after the election, I think we're all taking a few big swigs of coffee.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
to
know.
recover from the swigs from everything else.
That's
Okay,
Mike.
I
What
tried
did Mike?
peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
There's a actually in Seattle. There's a brewery called Bad Jimmy's, and they make a peanut butter and jelly beer. Um, and you take a sip of it, and it's like you're in the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Like it tastes like that, and then you're like, wow, why did I get a whole glass of this? I just wanted a taste. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we did it when we were looking for kegs. I have a kegerator, and the idea of having a keg, even a sixtel of like 76 beers, bad idea. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Mike, that's a different location for you. Are you in the office?
It turns out I am. Yes, I am coming
What?
to you live from the palatial CI office complex here in fabulous Bremerton, Washington. I definitely get more work done here. And right now there's a lot of work to do. So, not the least of which is chat with you right now. I look forward to these 15 minutes. I do think we need a better name, though, than LinkedIn Live.
I'll talk to marketing about that.
Please do.
Yeah. Hey, have you actually been doing like, real work this week, tracking cybery stuff or just boring week?
I'm not sure I'd use the word boring for this week, um, mainly from the perspective that essentially everyone has a tab open right now to a news source looking for situational changes in the election results. Right? It's not boring, but it's still about hospitals and elections. The things that we're tracking. And so far, what I've read, 19 hospitals have been hit by this Ryuk ransomware. This 19 number comes from a news source that's claiming 10 more as well as the 9 that are known. And apparently the actors are also changing tactics since we seem to be much better now at purging TrickBot. So they're switching from TrickBot to a couple of others known as Bazaar Loader and Bazaar Backdoor. And it's interesting that you just talked about the peanut butter and jelly beer because the other names for and I'm not making this up. The other names for this Bazaar Loader and Bazaar Backdoor, Keg Tap Beer Bot and Single Malt Still Bot. Okay, we have the dumbest names for stuff in our business, I swear. But on elections, before we get to what's happening, because there was an election, some of the things to pay attention to are some of the legislation that has passed. And the CPRA, the California Privacy Rights Act, passed in California. And this is going to have implications for all manner of business. Again, this is a law that was passed using the initiative process and not through the legislative process. And because of that, there's language in there that disallows legislators from relaxing the requirements on consumer privacy. And I haven't read the whole thing. I've read summaries, but I know it's going to become common for the do not track me button on websites and, everywhere you go. Mobile apps are going to have to probably change some business models. It can't all be about monetizing creepy ad tracking anymore because people have had it. Nobody wants to be chased around the internet by cookies and bots.
Mike, did you just have a phone ring? Like,
Yeah,
do you
that was
do
an
you,
actual phone call.
do you have a rotary phone? It
No,
sounded like a rotary phone.
it's an electronic bell. So no, it's a Cisco phone.
Oh, that's depressing. I imagine you with a rotary phone because somehow you want a phone that can't be hacked. So you went on eBay and bought an old one.
I do. I have one. It's red, and I have it hooked up to a Magic Jack for the times when I need to be completely anonymous and somebody can't track me back to a phone number.
Hmm.
Moving on.
That's not a surprise, I guess.
Mhm.
All right. So we talked about privacy. You love privacy. You talk about not being tracked. This is a problem for me as the marketing guy who likes to track people,
Mhm.
so we can see what their interests are and sell them stuff. But hey, so let's get off that topic so we don't
Okay.
fight too much. You got some cyber? Your favorite word?
So the cybering, yeah. Okay, so about the election, researchers observed a 98% increase overnight against U.S. servers on election day. So,
Whoa.
yeah. So, and it was brute force attacks, right? So, that's a thing. But the bigger issue is the disinformation is way up by various actors, foreign and domestic, trying to amplify confusion. So, for example, and a lot of people have seen this, a video taken yesterday at a polling site going viral as proof of Biden stealing the election because they wouldn't let these yahoos into the counting facility, right? So the reason the video has been viewed 10 million times is in part because it's being amplified and used as gas to pour onto a small fire. The other reason is just good old American gullibility, a willingness to believe anything you see that confirms your worldview. And let me just say, as an aside, I will remind everyone that these are also the people that we're trying to teach how not to be fooled by messages you receive on the internet because it ends up in you giving away your password or bringing in malware, right? The deck is stacked against us. Us being the InfoSec community that cleans up the messes. Is because people want to believe what they want to believe, and they're going to chase that.
Hey, so I think importantly there, you just talked about the people who we're trying to teach.
Mm-hmm.
What Mike is partially referring to is that every Friday we're doing security awareness training, and we I think I mentioned this before, but we thought we'd have 10 people, 20 people. We've had almost 600 people come to our security awareness training. We were just going to do it for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I hate months of things, but whatever. But it was so popular, we're going to keep going every Friday, except for, of course, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, those kind of things. But if folks want to sign up, if you want to send your employees, we've had HR analysts, accountants, admins, IT admins, CIOs. I just put a link in the chat there on LinkedIn. If you're watching on YouTube, go to LinkedIn and send me a note or Mike a note, and we'll make sure you have the link. But it's really been incredible. And Mike is actually now, after 4 or 5 sessions, he's actually getting good at it.
Oh, that's pretty funny. I actually can't believe that I'm that interesting.
I can't either, but apparently other people think so.
I will say we got a lot of good examples in there of, and the examples, like this is a fake Twitter message. This is a fake Facebook message, right? This is business email compromise attempt. The interesting thing is that stuff, it all came to me. I mean, these are real examples from, people trying to harangue me into paying an invoice or doing stuff like that, which is not going to work. But, I think those examples are probably the best part of it.
Yeah, I mean, so get your folks signed up. Mike is at least 50% entertaining, and also bizarrely we get to give away free stuff because other people have heard about it and are now giving us free stuff to give away. So it's pretty cool. All right, back to this and what we're talking about.
Wait. Did we give away temporary tattoos to people that want them?
Oh, geez, Mike. Yes, if somebody wants a temporary tattoo, send me a note. Or send Mike a note on LinkedIn and we'll send you a temporary tattoo of our logo. And then you can look like Mike, who has a real tattoo. And I know that what everybody wants is to look like Mike. So, hey, back to the election.
Dubious.
So have any have any counties been hit by ransomware while counting here? I mean, what's your prediction here? Any sign of trouble?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing that, I frankly did predict would happen, at least as a possibility. So not yet. Remember, I said, if ransomware hits a county that is in the post in-person election counting process, that's really going to throw the results into question, right? And I'll say that given all the other tactics we are seeing right now to create confusion about the outcome, it would still be a highly effective tactic. I mean, think about it. If Maricopa County right now got snarled, what would people be saying about the integrity of the count? I can think of 3 reasons it hasn't happened. So, number one, and we can't discount this possibility, I may be completely wrong and hyperbolic. It's always a possibility. Number 2, CISA is really doing a good job, I got to say, of monitoring for problems and being hands-on to stamp them out when they occur. They have done a really, really good job of getting in front of the 2016 problems, let's say. Third, and I think this deserves some discussion, our Russian friends may have recalculated how to achieve strategic goals given events on the ground, right? I mean, the price they'd pay if they got caught using a tactic like that and Biden wins the presidency means Putin's days are numbered. And they may be anyway after all of this.
Well, I guess I vote for hyperbolic door number 1. But please continue.
I'll ignore that. Another interesting event, also staying on that same theme, Cyber Command taking the fight to different countries. This is pretty interesting, and the analogy that I'll make, I think, is interesting, even though I'm not qualified to make the analogy. So Cyber Command sent teams to the Middle East and Asia over the past 2 years to help find Iranian, Chinese, North Korean hacking teams and identify the tools they're using to break into computer networks, right? Because this helps later with attribution, right? We know what North Korean fingerprints look like. So Cyber Command started this back in 2018 when it sent teams to, and I remember when this happened and it seemed really weird, they sent teams to North Macedonia, Montenegro, and some other countries to learn about Russian operations and tactics, right? And now we are putting a SOC in Croatia. Okay, so this is all super interesting. We are getting tooled up to take this fight to the enemy, and I like that. And now here's the analogy that I'm not qualified to make. How much is that like NATO pointing artillery, right? Moving troops into NATO countries to make sure that the balance of power is known, right? I think that analogy is fascinating. And I'm not entirely sure that that's the right one to use because I'm not a general.
By the way, I love Croatia. Great place to be in a SOC. Beautiful, beautiful country. Are we looking at a Cold War?
Oh, I think we're there. in fact, we can use how about mutually assured infrastructure disruption as the deterrent, right? To not getting some agreements in place about behavioral norms and, what the organized criminals in your country are doing.
I got to point out, you use the acronym there, MAID.
Scary, huh?
Mike, if you're going to try to scare people, you need scarier acronyms.
Maybe. Okay.
We're going to work on that. All right. Changing topics. Last week you talked about manufacturing. And this morning, a piece came out that you wrote in an engineering journal. I'll throw the link in the chat for anybody. You want to tell people about it?
Sure. So I'll say construction is next up, right? Both manufacturing and construction, interestingly, have the same level of activity. It's been reported that between the two of those sectors, they account for somewhere between 20 and 30% of ransomware events. And so as tied into supply chain management as both of those sectors are, and how much downtime costs, as well, especially in the construction industry, you have a glitch like that, you can't bid on new construction projects. So you can see why they're targeted. No one is immune. And there are attributes that make some sectors the perfect victims. So, there was, a piece came out in a manufacturing and engineering journal, talking about robotic manufacturing and how their attack surface is blown up. But construction companies, especially those that do federal work and they're regulated by the CMMC, it better buckle up.
Yeah, absolutely. I posted the link in the chat there. It's a good article. I know that because you wrote it, but I did heavy editing. Hey, for folks listening, I need a favor. We're trying a new platform, something different we did before, so we can stream on multiple platforms. I think it's going well. There's one weird thing about the way it looks. If you're watching on LinkedIn, can you hit one of the buttons on the bottom right, the little clappy thing, the heart, the curious, one of those? I need to see what it looks like in here. And well, you're my test people. Thank you. Mike, back to you. So we talked a few weeks ago when I taught you what a kicker is. It's that funny story at the end of a newscast that makes people like laugh. So, hey, Mike, what's the kicker?
So there was a lot of competition for the kicker this week, but the one I'll talk about is the sad story of the eBay executives that cyber stalked a critic. So basically, someone selling things on eBay complained in a public blog about something or another, and these execs ended up really harassing this woman, including, I'm not making this up, sending her a pig fetus and planning to break into her garage to put a GPS tracking device on her car. All right. So, those Yelp things are going to come back on people, it looks like. But in any event, despite the fact that their accomplices have rolled over on them, they're pleading not guilty. And the judge just threw the book of indictments at them. Pretty bad judgment there, eBay execs. And let me just say real quick, the competition for this was the Florida woman who, after someone had been fired from their company and was going to sue the company for wrongful termination, used the work phone that the person had to turn in, which was connected to this person's home surveillance system, to get a bunch of video and use it to extort this guy into dropping the case. Okay. So even though I just told you about that, I'm not going to make fun of Florida because I have a special derision reserved for Florida right now for other reasons.
Hey, I have good news. After people started hitting all those buttons, all of a sudden questions that people had asked actually popped into the app here. So now we have to answer questions, which is, cool. And thanks everybody for pushing buttons. Now I know how the platform works. Sometimes you just find it out live. Okay, one question. What? Ooh, I think I can put it on screen. There you go. Ooh,
oh, look at that.
Yay. What's the benefit of putting a SOC in a specific country? Is it just laws and regulations?
I think it's proximity to the events that happen in that country. What Cyber Command's trying to do, there's a lot of countries that are routinely just harassed by, the Russians. And studying those tactics, setting up a SOC there means that we can directly gather that information and take measurements and take things apart over there rather than doing it here. And since a lot of those kind of, formerly, Baltic states, right, former Soviet Union countries, they are the object of, aggression. And, first, this is where tactics get tried. And so I think that's the purpose of putting a SOC there. Plus, it's a really nice country.
Cool. Here's another one. Do you think the integrity of the alignment of communication and data be secure? I'm trying to figure out.
I'm just going to say yes.
Fine. Could it be more secure? Do you think the integrity of the alignment of communication and data? If you ask this question, I'm not sure what it means, so send me a note.
I actually, yeah. I mean, when people communicate and it's counter to what data say, right? Aligning those two things, but before anybody makes any kind of a pronouncement that can be easily fact checked and thrown out, yeah, they need to be aligned better for sure.
Well, fine then. And I was muted when I tried to talk there for a second. Well, great. Well, thanks everybody. That was awesome that people asked questions and we got to answer questions, and now we know how to use the platform. That's just going to make this even better. All right, a couple of things. Number one, make sure to come to that security awareness training on Friday. Links in there. Read Mike's article. It's only good because I edited it, but it's there. Please share the security awareness training with your friends, your coworkers. Everybody needs to go to that. And much as I give Mike crap, he is actually very entertaining. And we do a survey at the end, and on a 0 to 10 scale, we're at a 9.44. So if we can get it a 9.45, we can actually round up to a 9.5.
Are you reporting these metrics up to the chief executive?
I'm reporting them up to the head of marketing.
Oh.
Which is me. Yeah. So anyway, all right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us. And I hope you voted well. Because if you didn't, Mike will find out. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.